This is the ongoing history of protest music, and this is CJ Baker. So this is the follow-up to the previous video where I posted the top 10 protest albums of 1984. So in this video, we'll look at the top 10 protest songs. So similar to the previous video, these will be presented in alphabetical order. So before we get into the official top 10 list, let's consider a few honorable mentions. So the first honorable mentions are two songs off the album Growing Up, Harry Bragg. So the two tunes is It Says Here, which is a scathing indictment of tabloid journalism, and Iron of No Return, which is an anthemic anti-war tune. The next honorable mention is probably the most well-known protest tune released in 1984, and that's Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. But even though it is the most well-known tune, I excluded it from the top 10 for a couple of reasons. First, there's the dated 80s music arrangement, which borders on cheesy. There's also the fact that because of the arrangement, there's been times when the message of the song was totally missed, and listeners mistook the tune for a patriotic anthem. And this even includes politicians such as Ronald Reagan that wanted to adopt it as a campaign theme. And this was much to the boss's chagrin. But Springsteen, over the years, has performed stripped down versions of the song, such as the one he performed live on Broadway. So these versions are a lot more effective in conveying the song's powerful lyrical message. But unfortunately, these versions were not released in 1984. And then the final honorable mention is Hard Times by Run DMC. So Run DMC are not necessarily known as a political rap group, but at times they do address social issues. Example of this is the opening track, Hard Times, off their self-titled debut. So the lyrics effectively shed a spotlight on issues faced by those in their community. So we'll now get to the official top 10 list. Once again, this is presented in alphabetical order. So the first song is by Bruce Cockburn, If I Had a Rocket Launcher. So just like the album it's off of, Steel and Fire, the tune was inspired by Cockburn's trip to Central America on behalf of Oxfam. So this tune was Cockburn's response to the plight of Guatemalan refugees. So the tune is full of righteous indignation. And even though it could be interpreted as promoting vigilantism, Cockburn has clearly stated that the song, it's not a call to arms, but it's a cry, it's an outcry for the pain and suffering that individuals were experiencing. So the next song is People Are People by Depeche Mode. So this tune is off the band's fourth album, Some Great Reward. So this happened to be the first top 20 hit in the US. And depending on which band member you talk to, it's either about racism or war. But the lyrics work in both contexts. So either way, it's about looking past the differences that divide, and instead focusing on the commonality that unites. So the next song is Two Tribes by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. So in the 80s, there were several tunes that were motivated by Cold War anxiety and the fear of World War III and nuclear annihilation. For this tune, off of Frankie's debut, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, this well articulates the Cold War angst that many were feeling at that time. It also highlights how war are often motivated by greed. For example, that's exemplified by the lyrics, working for the black gas. So this is a reference to oil. So control of the oil supply is often a factor in wars. And sadly, that remains to be the case. The song also features a memorable music video which satirically depicts then US President Ronald Reagan grappling with then USSR leader Konstantin Shevchenko. So the next song is 2 Minutes to Midnight by Iron Maiden. So this is another song dealing with Cold War anxiety and the threat of nuclear annihilation. The song is a reference to the doomsday clock, which indicates how close we are to total destruction. So it's a warning of what could happen if things continue to go unchecked. It also helps that the song also kicks ass and it has a catchy chorus that I can't get out of my head. So if we all approaching annihilation, we should at least have good tunes to soundtrack the impending apocalypse. Next song is Untitled Song for Latin America by Minutemen. So as mentioned in the previous video, I could have made a top 10 list exclusively of top 10 protest songs off double nickels on the dime. So this tune addresses how US-backed Contras have had a devastating impact on Nicaragua. The lyrics also allude to how the CIA mined 3 harbors in Nicaragua and how that disrupted the country's shipping and economic activities. So the band, they viewed this as genocidal. So similarly, we previously referenced Bruce Cockburn. He also addressed the situation and support for the Nicaraguans on his song, Nicaragua, off of Steel and Fire. So the next song is 99 Love Balloons / 99 Red Balloons by Nina. So I do prefer the German version. And since the German version was a bigger hit in the US and the English failed to chart, it looks like I'm not the only one. But the English version did hit #1 in my native country, Canada. But like I said, I prefer the German version because it feels more authentic and the lyrical flow seems to mesh better with the music. Of course, I don't know German, so having the English version is helpful in discerning the song's powerful anti-war message. So the genesis of the song was while at a June 1982 concert by the Rolling Stones in West Berlin, Nina's guitarist Carlo Kojis noticed that balloons were being released and he observed them move. And as he observed this, he noticed how when they shift and change shapes, they resembled UFOs. So this made him wonder what might happen if they floated over Berlin Wall to the Soviet sector. The band also cited a 1973 newspaper article where 5 high school students, as a prank, released 99 balloons attached to flares in order to assimilate the appearance of UFOs. So in the song, the release of the balloons lead to an international incident which triggers a third world war. So regardless of the language, the song is a certified bop. It is also an interesting juxtaposing of the serious lyrics and the catchy musical arrangement. And also as a trivia point, Luft is the German word for air, not red. So red was only used for the English version because the number of syllables work better with the music. So the next protest song is Unread Photos by John Prine. So on the 25 song list, I actually had a different Prine tune, People Putting People Down. And that song also has a positive social message. So I was debating possibly including that one. I decided that Unread Photos is also an excellent tune, and it does work better in the context of being a protest song. So this tune is off Prine's album Aimless Love, and the song eloquently addresses double standards in connection with gender. In particular, it deals with how there's a stigma attached to being an unread teenage single mother, but there's not the same societal stigma attached to the unread absentee fathers who can't be bothered to carry out the responsibilities of fatherhood. So the next song is Nelson Mandela by The Special, aka. So on my 25 song list, this was number 2. Number 1 was Daniel Johnston's True Love Will Find You in the End. And that song by Daniel Johnston, the goddamn gorgeous song. But I did think it was a stretch to call it protest song. Even though I guess you can argue that the love conquer all sentiment is a socially conscious message. This song, the Two Tone Ska Band, is definitely a clear protest song. So they were formerly known as the Specials. I hear they're credited as the Special, aka. And this is a powerful anti-apartheid tune. So Nelson Mandela was an unusual protest song in the sense that it was upbeat and celebratory. So when you think of the nature of the celebration nature of the song, along with the African musical influences, that's probably what helped contribute to it being an international anthem. The tune also made its way to South Africa, where it was played at sporting events and anti-apartheid rallies. The band, along with Amy Winehouse, also performed the song during a June 27th, 2008 concert in celebration of Nelson Mandela's 90th birthday. So that performance took place 18 years after Mandela was released in prison. So the next song is We're Not Gonna Take It, Twisted Sister. I was debating whether to include this fist pumping anthem because as a protest song, it's a bit vague. Musically, it's a bit campy. But it is campy in the best possible way. And the vagueness can be argued that actually adds to the effectiveness as a protest song. Because it doesn't mention any specific individuals or address any specific social situations or causes, it can be easily applied to a variety of different cultural movements. And at times, this is to Dee Snider's approval, and at other times, it's very much to his chagrin. But anytime anyone wants to take a stand against authority and say, screw you, I'm not going to take it, this is the perfect anthem. So the final song on our list is Pride in the Name of Love by U2. So this is one of two tunes off the Unforgettable Fire dedicated to Martin Luther King. The other is the album's closer, MLK. So I opted for this one because of its anthemic and defiant nature. So the tune makes it clear that they may be able to take MLK's life, but the love he promoted and his spirit of activism lives on. So this concludes a top 10 list. So is there any songs you thought were excluded? Feel free to protest the list in your comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And you can also check out more info on the website, Ongoing History of Protest Songs.com. So thanks for listening, and please stay safe.